map to which he referred here? Well, that's this map. Okay? And the text in 1691 in this document, that's here, right? Actually refers to the very same authority. So, in 1691, what happens is that this genealogy, what Bas referred to, right? It's the Juarez de Zárate family. This is the latest one, right? This is early, and it goes more recent to here. And these are the last ones, the last generation in the document, which means that the most recent one, and these are actually people who made this document, right? If you go through a document, normally you start at the end. That's what we're going to do too. Okay? This gives you who made this. And we know who they are because the names are here. Okay? But actually, in 1691, it's this man here, represented here, with his brother. His brother's not here, he's one of these. Okay? It was him, Don Diego here represented, and his brother, right? One of these. Right? Who in 1691 and those claimed his right to certain lands and the right to have a horse. Having a horse was a privilege that you could only get through the king. He would have to give you permission to do this. So they were claiming to be rulers of Ixtepeji, Domingo and Don Diego. And then in 1709, the second text, right? It's again Don Domingo and his three sons, Don Francisco, Don Diego, and Don Pedro, who were claiming. So I don't know what happened to the other Don Diego, his brother. Maybe he died, and now Don Domingo was in charge, and then he and his sons were claiming these same rights. Okay, to be recognized as ruler. And then in the latest text, 1718, it's only Don Diego who claims. Maybe his father died, who knows? And now he was claiming the same rights as his father had done, 27 years earlier. Okay, so these are the three periods when this document was used by the same family, the same rulers of the same family. Okay, so that's this. And what they of course are claiming is to be descendants of this long line of rulers that go back from here, we go here to this man. Okay? So they're claiming descent, and that is very important because colonial rule said that the crown had to respect the original rulers that were here in Mexico before the Spanish arrived. So if you could prove that you were a descendant of a pre-Hispanic lord, then you would inherit privileges. So this is very important, and that's what we're doing. But not only that, they say, we're a descendant of this man. And who is this man? Well, you already know him. Gokelai. Remember this Gokelai? This was this man who was in this text, who helped the Spaniards, right? In the conquest of Mexico City, and even went to Veracruz to receive Cortés. Okay? That's this very same man. And he's represented as an Indian conquistador. He's represented, you see, he's got a sable, and he's got a shield, he's got, all these clothes, European clothes, and he's represented right next to a horse, which clearly is a Spaniard. Okay? So he's represented as an Indio conquistador. An Indian conquistador. And this is a phenomenon that we've been working on recently. And I've been very much involved in this new development, looking at the conquest and looking at the role that the indigenous played in that. And it turns out that they were as important as the Spanish, or even more important. Right? So it's a new current of investigation, and this guy is actually saying that. He's saying, I did this, and you now have to give me privileges because, I really did this. I conquered the whole region for you. I then brought these people to Christianity and all that kind of stuff. So that's what they're saying. It's not only they're from this long lineage, no. Their ancestor was actually Indio conquistador. Right? So we have all these rights. And this man is a descendant of this line that starts here. And this is a long pre-Hispanic line. Just like we saw in the documents that was just now. Right? So this couple, he is the son of this couple. He's the son of this couple, he's the son of this couple, and so forth. Okay? Very clear lineage. Yeah, this comes now. Oops, it should come now. No, it didn't. Okay, sorry. Here, you see these little squares with text that are related to the women. These are the parental statements of the women, where they come from. Again, this is very important because this is the political alliances of the lineage of Ixtepeji. Right? Okay. Then, so this is the beginning of this lineage. And this man here, we know who he is because he's represented twice in the documents. Here and here. And long texts explain who he is and what he's doing. He's called Laogechi. Zapotec calendar name. Doesn't matter really. But that's his name. Laogechi. Okay? Laogechi, and this text here in Zapotec explains who he is. It says, the sister of Laogechi is Lady Lapa, who married Yek Bezelau Lagesh. The daughter of Yek Bezelau Lagesh is Lady Lina, who married Pekatau Lapek Lachila of the house of Yawa. That's what it says in here in Zapotec. This is what it reads in. So we have another information about his lineage, which basically means this. Okay? So here's Laogechi, and he's a sister. He's a sister of Jonashi Lapa, who was married to this man. They had a daughter married to this man, and they had a daughter, and he got married to her. So he married to, I don't know what you call this in right? It's the granddaughter of his sister. Right? Okay? But this is not only represented in this text here, it's also represented in pictures. This here is Jonashi Lapa and her husband Yek Bezelau. Okay? Then there's other additional information about other descendants of them here, which I won't get into. There's their daughter, Jonashi Lina, who's married to Pekatau Lapek. You see these names here, right? And they have a daughter who is Jonashi Pinechi. And of course, this is Laogechi, the same man here. Okay? Why is he then represented as a conquistador, as a conqueror? You see, he's got his lance, his shield, everything. Well, he comes from outside. He's not from Ixtepeji. And if you come from outside, like the boss said, in Zapotec, it's the man line, right? It's the male line that inherits. And he's from outside. If you're from outside, the only way you can actually get legitimate rights to the throne is by conquest. But this guy didn't need conquest. He was probably invited, right, to found this dynasty or lineage, whatever, right? Because, I mean, it's goes through his family line. So he was invited. So what he had to do was to conquer. So probably what we're seeing here is a symbolic conquest. It's not a real conquest. And we have many examples of this in pre-Hispanic documents and in colonial documents, right? So he probably had, what we see here is this symbolic conquest of Ixtepeji, which gave him the right to actually become ruler of the town. Okay? Oh, yeah, and there we see. Okay. So, now the last part of the document. Clearly, a landscape. Right? I hope you agree on this. right? We see hills here, we see places, we see a road, right? But there's all kinds of other information here. What we have is two layers of information that have collapsed one on top of the other. Also like last show, right? We have a map with historical information inside. So that's here too. So to make it easier for you, I've taken out the historical information. And we're just left with the geographical information. Okay? So this is a map. Right? And the glosses here, all in Zapotec, give the names of these places. Ixtepeji, just down the hill, right? San Miguel del Rio, just a bit further. Caltianguis, Calpulalpan. We saw Calpulalpan, I was with some people that, you know, that showed Calpulalpan, and architects on the other side. And this here refers to the lineage lands. The lands of the lineage. Right? Because that's what they were claiming, remember? So, if this is a map, then we also should be able to identify where these lineage lands are. We can. If we compare this to a modern map, this is of course Google Maps, right? We actually see the same ordering. Okay, Calpulalpan should be a bit more, you know, here, but that's fine. It's the very same order, which makes sense because this is a map, right? Which means that these lineage lands should be somewhere here. And there. And what's there? San Pedro Nexicho. Oops. Why did you do that? Sorry. Yes. San Pedro Nexicho is right there, where we are now. And this is old Ixtepeji, where we are now. So this is where the lineage lands are. Okay? Lineage lands. And if you look at this again, you see this here. This is a pyramid. Which makes sense because we're right on top of the ruins here. Right? So it makes sense. This. There's actually also a lift there of a jaguar. I don't know what's doing that, but so what we see is a real representation of the landscape. Actually makes a lot of sense. And therefore these lands here are the lands that are down here. And if we look at this, right? With this, right? How it's marked, these are the different fields. Now look at this. It's this. We're in this church right now. This was the road. This is where the tomb was, one of the tombs that you saw, the first one. And these are all these fields. It's exactly the same. As if they made this document based on this. Right? And of course, since we are here, right on top of this pyramid, on top of these ruins, it's no surprise that we've seen all these tombs. And the most spectacular one is this one. This is really a spectacular tomb. Right? This is the one that you couldn't go into. This is the only post-classic tomb, painted tomb that we have. But it's falling down here. It's better now, right? Because excavated it, and now the next phase is that they're gonna restore it and stabilize it. It's really spectacular. This is only one wall. On the other wall, there's also painting. Also at the end of the, it's all painted. Really amazing tomb.
Do you know if that's like fresco or what type of painting that is?
I don't know. Do you know of us? I don't know. We have to ask the restorers about that. I don't know. I just read the pictures. That's what we do.
Right on the walls.
Okay. So we have this map. We have here Nexicho, where we are now. Then now look at the other part, right? The historical part. We see this road, and it leaves here, goes through Galtiangis, and it arrives right here, where we are now. And these people are walking towards Nexicho. So what's going on here? Well, first we can figure out, here's a gloss here, and the gloss reads Ixtepeji, the very same place as this. Okay? Remember, this forms part of the geographical map. I just left it there so you can see. But this actually happened in Ixtepeji. It's a different layer. Okay? So this does not belong to the layer of this one, Galtiangis, is both geographically and historically. So that's where the two layers mix. But what happened? These people leave from this place. Sadly, this has been very damaged, this part. So there should be a gloss here which explains what place it is. It's unreal. They leave and meet in Ixtepeji. From there, they pass through Galtiangis, then go from here, go to this particular place, which is down the river, and then arrive in Nexicho. Well, we have information about this. What is represented here? Oh, well, first the road that you actually see where they're going. First, they come from a place which is here, well, actually more like here, called Yabago. And then go through Ixtepeji, Galtiangis, and arrive in San Pedro Nexicho. Okay? So what we know about this? In this place Yabago, documents from 1607 explain how this town was founded. It's a Juan de Santiago, Indian nobleman, who said to be a natural somebody born from Yabago, this town way up there. It may be 30 years, more or less, that they depopulated said town, Yabago, and they came to populate the site of old Ixtepeji, for it was depopulated, and for having populated it, their ancestors in the past, at the time of their infidelity, meaning in pre-Hispanic times. Because to the town of Yabago had come a very great disease of fever, pockets, vomits, and smallpox.